So, Mark, did you see the good news? Monkeys everywhere. King Kong, the gorillas, they've gone from Fremont and they're on the strip now. They just keep multiplying. Life is good.
You just this is like your favorite thing ever. You get to bring it up, but I will say this gorilla knows how to twerk. That was an interesting dance move with the lady in there too. It's even funnier if you take off the hat and it's a 60-year-old man smoking a cigarette or something, like we've seen with Minnie Mouse. But this is a trend.
Everybody loves the dancing gorillas. You just got to hop on board.
Can't get there.
So we have to start the show by acknowledging a tragic incident that happened in the Vegas YouTube community. Neither of us knew anybody involved, but our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of the victims. And this is just a really sad occurrence to see something that started on social media spread into the real world in this way. And it was just heartbreaking to see.
Yeah, it's definitely the dark side of social media and what it can do to people and the way that they can affect them. And you don't think it is, and then it is. And it's a scary thing. And life is so precious. It's sad to see something like this happen.
Now we're going to move into our normal show, starting with Wrestlemania. It was such a hit this year. I didn't really realize coming into this year that Wrestlemania was like a whole weekend
30K?
spectacle. Oh, the prices, but just that they had, multiple days events and multiple venues, how big it was. I just assumed it was like one event for one night. We obviously learned that as Vegas did a great job hosting it. So good that they're coming back next year, April 18th and 19th. I've heard ticket prices. Cinnamon Girl told me they've doubled already. Haven't verified that, but popular. They should just 60K? Have it in Vegas every year. Yeah.
No, I'm guessing that's what they probably got more money than they have other venues, I would assume, as far as tickets. Just brought a ton of people to the city. So I think it was a great event for the city itself, and then great for Wrestlemania. Doubling, I hope that's not the case. Doubling the prices is just insane. Like, come on.
I wonder if it's sold out and maybe she's just talking about resales. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
That was just a message that she had sent me, but she's a big Wrestlemania fan, so she was super excited. I know a lot of other people in the chatter online. I think it went so well this year, and this is great for Vegas if we talk about ongoing struggles or the predictions of struggles or whatever. It's great to get this on the books. And they said they wanted to get like a major sporting event every year, like the Super Bowl, and they included WrestleMania in that. If they can get WrestleMania every year plus other stuff, it's only great for the city. Tons of hotel rooms, all the venues they need. Yeah, make Las Vegas WrestleMania's home.
What brings in more money, F1 or WrestleMania?
I'm pretty sure I don't know. I mean, let's talk to Jeremy Aguero over at Apply. What's the economic impact? I don't know. Speaking of economic impact, Hollywood 2.0 is dead. The bills did not pass before the legislative session ended. And that, talking about economic impact, there was definitely a dispute there. We talked on a show a couple weeks ago how the government had done this study saying they were going to get something like 56 cents on the dollar back for these expanded tax credits. We do have people who watch the show who've commented saying that doesn't take everything into account, the jobs, everything else. And there are definitely different numbers for impact, but it doesn't matter because they didn't get passed. And either Hollywood's going to have to build a studio here on their own without all of this, or we're going to wait till next year and they're going to try to do it all over again, which I think they did last year too, right? The clock ran out, and this seems like a very similar sort of thing.
You think that they would want to move just because it'd be cheaper. Maybe you're not, it's not too far for talent to come, and it'd be cheaper to have there, tax wise, all that stuff. You think it'd be a better fit, and with how expensive California is, how landlocked Hollywood is, and there's not really a better location that I can think of in the vicinity. I think it just makes a lot of sense for them to do it without huge tax breaks or whatever other incentives they're looking for.
I totally agree. I support this, but I don't support the tax breaks. It's a great state for business, low taxes, stuff like that. So there are a lot of good things for why people want to come here, but happy to hear anybody's opinions. And if you work in the industry, have more of an insight, make sure to leave a comment. Would love to hear that. But let's move on to food specials. It's no secret that the summer is looking pretty slow. People accuse us of being apologists for Las Vegas because we're just looking at the stats and trying to remain neutral in trying to see how slow it's going to be. But certainly there's been guidance from the powers that be that it's not going to be the blockbuster summer that perhaps we've seen in past years. And there are some interesting specials. Now, Ellis Island's in the middle of their expansion, and so because of that, they are offering 50% off the full menu at all of their venues, Monday through Thursday, 4 to 7. Village Pub is pretty good. I don't know if this includes Metro Pizza. I guess it would. Their barbecue is really good. I think this is a great deal because the food there is solid and the prices are already not terrible.
Yeah, I mean the steak's already really cheap, so half off of that is insane. And the fish and chips are good. Like you have some good options there, some good comfort type food. Front Yard is a great establishment. I've had a lot of good times there, and I think it's a beautiful spot. Kudos to them because I'm sure having everything under construction and it being kind of a mess has kept people away, as well as the summer looking a little bit more soft, which it might not affect them as much because they're more of a locals place. But yeah, you want to bring people in. A lot of people are probably like, "Oh, let's skip it. It's a mess over there." But 50% off is going to get me coming in.
And 50% off the best pizza on the Strip. Vital Vegas calls Superfrico. You guys love to correct
Superifico?
the way. Yeah.
Is it
It's not- I always
Superifico?
want to say Superrifico, but it's Superfrico. Oh, God, you guys love to correct me, so go ahead. Just leave the comments. Correct me.
Mansplain it to them, people.
50% off pizza Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday from 5 to 7 at the Studio Bar. I've heard great things. Vital Vegas says it's his favorite pizza on the Strip. I have not tried it yet, but I've heard many other people say it's delicious pizza, so probably worth a shot if you're over there. Again, very limited hours here, but certainly a deal.
Yeah, it went from strip prices to off strip prices with the deal, probably.
Probably, but let's talk about our favorite pizza place, Pin Up Pizza. And, Chris Holmes had all these different signs. One day it was $20, $27, whatever it was. Well, now they have a new one. This is the one at Planet Hollywood. $6 for a slice, $5.99. So maybe they finally got their mind. But they also have this very confusing thing where they have 18-inch pies and 30-inch pies. And some of the slices are from the 30-inch pies, which are much bigger. And this is for the cheese slice from the 18-inch pie. So it's not the hugest slice.
That's crap.
And by the way, their pizza's not that good. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
do yourself a favor. You could go a dozen other places on the Strip and get better pizza.
When you said $6, I'm like, well, their slice is like a double slice if you get it from the big one. So that's actually a pretty reasonable deal. And for the pizza, it's not the best, but for $6 for getting like 2 slices, I think that's a great option. And then you're like, you know what? It's the smaller slices. So no, pass.
And then I just saw his pictures of the slices, and it just reminded me of how the pizza looked when I ate it and why I just did not enjoy it.
Dry.
I always see huge lines at that location too, but yeah, just not my favorite, but some people like it, and certainly $6 is better than $12 or whatever the heck they were charging before. Do you think at this point that whoever owns Pin Up Pizza is just changing prices like this so people will talk about it on social media to get them more attention? That's my conspiracy theory here.
I don't know, just like come out with a good deal. Do the big slice for $6 or $6.49 or whatever, and people will come. And you're still making money. It's pizza. It doesn't cost a lot to make.
You know what else people will come to? The Olympics, where everybody's on steroids, and that's what one.
This is the weirdest crap ever.
And shout out to the people in the comments who we missed the story a couple weeks ago. Who
Wasn't
said
it
we had
just
to
one
cover
guy?
this.
Wasn't it just
Probably.
one guy?
It was over and over again. The enhanced games are coming to Las Vegas in about a year, May of 2026. Now, what's really interesting about the company that's running this is their venture capital back. They've raised millions of dollars from billionaires like Peter Thiel and others to bring basically sports where you can juice up. And they have prizes, and they're trying to pay the athletes because they know they're not going to ever be able to compete in normal stuff anymore. And I don't understand why they think this is such a great idea to fund for millions of dollars. It's also probably not great for the athletes, but here you go. Probably does fit perfectly in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, of course it's at Resorts World, right? I don't even know, like, are they going to have, like, weightlifting challenges? What are they going to do for the contest? But, what is it, like $500,000 total combined purse for each event? I think $250K goes to the winner. So it'll definitely bring some people out. Maybe they'll rage or something. I don't know. But no, they're like, we're going to take the approach of Red Bull, where we're going to, pay for all these extreme things that go on social media, and then it will sell Red Bull, but we're going to sell PEDs. And I'm like, what? I thought that was all like underhanded. They sell PEDs like back alley type of stuff, and that's why people have been arrested, even though they're not illegal, or they are illegal. I don't know, but it just seems like a really weird business model, and they're just lighting investor money on fire, essentially.
Seems kind of scummy. Yeah, we want to create these Olympic Games and then sell you the drugs to do it. I don't really think that's a good idea. I would love to hear what you guys think, but this has got to be among the quirkiest things we've ever heard of. And like I said, maybe it's a fit for Vegas. And back to deals, the Strat this time has a pretty cool deal, the Summer of Value, where you get a $49 a night room during the week or $99 on the weekend. That includes resort fee, or there is no resort fee. That includes taxes. So if you go to book it, it's like $43 plus tax, $49 out the door. That would be pretty good, I would say. But then they're also giving you 2 tickets to the observation deck and a $25 dining credit. I mean, I think I'm going to go stay there when I get back in town. Just it's one of the few hotels I haven't stayed at yet on the Strip, and probably never going to be a better value than during the summer.
Go to Atomic Golf next door. They can use it. I've always enjoyed my time in the Strat, in the casino. I've never stayed in the hotel. I've heard the rooms are fairly decent, though. I think they've, been updated somewhat recently. So you're basically getting the other stuff. So you're getting a free room because the observation tickets and then the dining credit or whatever basically covers the cost of the room, at least during the week. So yeah, I think it's a really good deal. And this is what we've been waiting 4 years for value and deals. It took them too long. Now they're reacting late to try to get bookings when it's a little bit slow. If Strat would have come out with this like a year ago and just had it all the time, it'd be busy all the time right now.
And just to throw this in there, valid for travel June 1st through August 28th. So you have through August 28th in order to take advantage of this. I'll hopefully get to stay there and share my thoughts on it, but I agree the rooms look decent for that price. Certainly looking forward to it. As a reminder, we have our Patreon, $5 a month, get you access to our weekly after show, lots of laughs behind Mark's terrible jokes. Everything great in Vegas. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information, and thanks to everybody who supports us over there. There was so much news happening in Vegas this week, and here is another very interesting story. Voodoo Steakhouse is no more, or it's going to be no more. The guy taking over, James Trees, a well-known chef here, Esther's Kitchen, an amazing restaurant downtown, among others, and he is going to be changing the name High Stakes Vegas. Sounds like he wants to bring a more contemporary approach. They're going to gut it. This is a management contract, so Dreamscape is going to own this restaurant. This is the first that he isn't owning himself, but a big name for Vegas, great chef, and one of the greatest venues, I think, in town.
Yeah, am I wrong that I like the old name better, though?
Yeah, but I think they wanted to get rid of the garish decor and maybe some of the stuff from behind.
I think you could cut the name.
Maybe not as good.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. A great chef, big name. He said in the article that this is like he's always wanted to do a steakhouse, and now he finally has the chefs working with him that can pull it off. So I think it'll be really well done. Like you said, one of the best locations available, potential options. I'm really excited for this.
They're spending $3 million on it too, so that tells you that Dreamscape really wants to make this a high-end signature steakhouse for the property. We've had mixed opinions over the years, but everything they've really touched, I think, has been great. I really like the renovations in the casino. I like their vision for the property, and I think that this is great. Hopefully this means that they're going to start renovating that tower and the Masquerade Village soon, because that's the one part of the casino that still looks like it's stuck in the 1990s and really needs help. And maybe this means that all of that's about to happen, and that would be super.
Best part of all this is they won't be putting the management in place. So they won't be in charge of the customer service aspect of it.
Yes, and the best sourdough in the world, man. Oh my God, his sourdough is amazing. And throw some mayo on that sourdough, Mark, because here's another quirky Vegas story this week. Helman's is going to throw a mayonnaise wedding for people. One engaged couple will be selected to get married at the Viva Las Vegas Wedding Chapel on July 31st. And you're going to get married by the mayonnaise guy. And I think you have through June 20th to enter this contest. So we wanted to make sure everybody out there who's going to get married can enter. And if an MTM Vegas viewer gets selected, I hope you invite us, or invite me at least. I'll be in town to the wedding.
Should have done it at the Taco Bell chapel. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, I mean, that's the all-time goat of wedding chapels in Vegas is the Taco Bell Cantina. You and I both have had the pleasure of seeing a wedding there. But as a reminder, you get married at the Denny's on Fremont Street. There's lots of interesting options. Of course, where I got married, the Little Church of the West, me and Elvis. So, me and Elvis in the movie, right?
Oh, yeah. We don't need to start
it all
that.
up again. And we talked earlier about why Nevada is such a good place to do business. Well, the company that owns the Las Vegas Sphere, they reincorporated in Nevada. They announced a couple months ago that they were planning to do this. They were incorporated in Delaware, which previously has been a sort of haven for companies. And I guess there was, last year there was this whole thing with Elon Musk's compensation, and now there's a lot of companies looking to move away from Delaware. A lot of politics involved with that, but they are now a Nevada company. Nothing changes. Their corporate office hasn't changed. Their management hasn't changed. It's just they're registered in Nevada now.
I mean, if this is a beginning of a trend, watch out, Delaware. It's going to be a lot of people have their businesses there for, for the tax purposes and everything. And if you lose that edge, I don't know what else you got going.
This next one is a short I came across, and this guy claims the Uber airport hack. And what he tells you to do, and this is true,
Tim hack
would actually hold up, is if you're at Terminal 1, you got to get to Terminal 3. So you do that, then you're going to walk all the way past like economy parking. And for people who don't know, there is an economy parking lot right next to the garage in Terminal 3. But once you get to the far end of that and sort of go out onto the street, then technically you'd be off airport property, and then Uber prices would be 50%. Now, I would estimate that if you were at Terminal 1, by the time you took the bus to Terminal 3 and did this walk, you're at least adding 30 minutes of time and a decent amount of walking. If you were already at Terminal 3, maybe a 10 to 15 minute walk in order to do that. Is that worth saving up to 50% off your Uber? Because that's probably what it would be. That's what he claims. And based on my experiences, I think that would be about right. And it's certainly doable. So I thought I'd share.
Pull out Lyft and it's already like 40% cheaper. Done.
But then you could take Lyft off airport and it would be even cheaper than that. The reason he's telling you to go to Terminal 3 is because you don't really have to walk through like crowded streets or anything. You're basically walking to a parking lot and then you can sort of get out onto the main street. But it's not really all that friendly. You have your luggage. I think at certain points in life, you just got to suck it up and do it. And then there's also buses that run from there to the Strip. And maybe, time-wise, I think that would be probably just as fast and you don't have to walk all the way out.
That's why you don't check baggage. So you can just hop on the tram.
So let us know, is this worth it? Shout out to creative thinking for sure. And I did appreciate that because I know all of the aspects of that, but I never really thought much about walking outside the airport. Another interesting one that Cinnamon Girl sent me, AJ McLean of the Backstreet Boys was doing an interview and somebody asked him about residencies and how they sort of settled where they're going to be. And he was talking about Planet Hollywood specifically and why they didn't go there, saying that Planet Hollywood has been sold or is about to be sold. Also that it could be turning into the Sands or back to the Aladdin. I think this is probably a giant dream of a lot of Vegas people, but Caesars would have given guidance or something. There's no guidance that it's for sale. Certainly it hasn't been sold, but it kind of opened my eyes up. Should Las Vegas Sands come back to Las Vegas? They're the former owners of the Venetian. Maybe they should buy Planet Hollywood, turn it back into the Sands. That would be great.
Yeah, I never got to experience Sands. I didn't even get Aladdin changed shortly before I got there. So I didn't get to see that either. I really do like Planet Hollywood. It's one of my favorite Caesars properties. I think the vibe of it fits perfectly with the property. But bringing back Sands, I don't know if that's, they could build it new. I'd rather see them build it new and kind of put their own spin on it and go from there. But I'd be excited to see that name come back.
I still think that of all the properties that Caesars has, that makes the most sense for them to get rid of. First off, it has an IP attached to it, so they have to pay naming rights and stuff like that. It's also geographically most separated from their properties. But again, there's been rumors for years that they're going to sell. They always say, everything's on the table. But I think this is probably just a misunderstanding. Other people on social media sort of agreed with that. But I just love the idea of bringing back either Aladdin or Sands. Other than the Tropicana, I think I spent more time at the old Aladdin when I was a kid than anywhere else. My dad liked the buffet for some reason. So on every trip we would go there. So I missed that very 80s Vegas, that place, before they tore it down and built the new one. If they could bring back any Vegas property, Mark, what would be the one you would want?
Hooters, obviously.
And of course mine would be Trop, so there you go.
I'd say even though Stardust doesn't look like it was that great inside, I would love to bring the name and the sign back. So that would be my legit answer, Stardust, just for the sign.
Yeah, I think a lot of Vegas people would agree with you. I think Stardust is probably like the most iconic brand that's gone, and obviously it's not gone completely. Boyd still owns it and still uses it for certain things. I like the old Frontier. They had a cool atrium, and there's just a lot of cool areas of Vegas that are gone. But again, if they bring it back, it's just the name. So it's not like you're bringing back the property that it was. So Stardust would be really cool because of that iconic sign and that branding. And I think that would probably be the best to bring back.
I don't know why somebody hasn't. I mean, if you're going to build a new property, buy the rights, whatever you need to do. If you bring something that, everything old is new again at some point. If you did that, I think it'd be insanely popular. And if you leaned into it, it'd be a really big deal.
And let's close with this. We've talked about Fontainebleau and how they've been struggling since they opened, and things haven't been as rosy as they had hoped. And there's interest piling up, and there's all rumors about a potential sale, all of that stuff. Well, they did make a huge move to attract customers this week in changing their rewards program. And specifically, you're getting 1 point for every $2.50 coin in on slots compared to every $5 before. So doubling the amount of points you earn on that. I think it's 1 point per $10 on video poker, so not quite as good. And then they also have their sort of giveaway. If you earn 5,000 points, you're going to get $20 cash back. And those are going to be redeemed at certain intervals during the year. There's 4. So that's like an additional kicker. What I found most interesting is they did a ton of work on putting these graphics together, comparing them to every program on the Strip. Really, it should be something everybody looks at just so you can kind of see it. I don't know if I've ever seen as good a comparison from all different perspectives. More rewarding, that's good news. They have some great deals this summer, even if you've never been there. Like I think locals, 125 midweek, upgrade to their gold room, no resort fees. Many other deals, obviously comps if you played there a little bit. It's a place people should check out. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we know all the problems with it. Maybe sterile, the location's not good, but at least they're trying here.
Yeah, but this is what they should have rolled out in the beginning. Like you start strong and then devalue after you build your base. Like they weren't coming in with a built-in base from another location, from another state or another location on the strip. They're starting from scratch. You should have been the most valuable rewards program possible and then offered the most generous comps for the first year just to get that place packed nonstop, build a buzz. And then after that, when you get a good base of return guests, then you can be like, you know what, we're going to pare this back a bit. So they're doing it in reverse, which we've seen so much with them, and just the arrogance at launch of what they thought they had, and it's a bit late.
What I found interesting about these comparisons, people are always wondering, what is the return to player on slot machines on the strip versus elsewhere? We can't see that as much. Like with video poker, you can figure out the pay tables and all of that, but with slots, it's really hard to tell what it's set at. But they are assuming an 8% hold for the house on their numbers here. So that's just an interesting number that they threw out. So I would assume that that's probably pretty close to what their hold is, and that's not good. That's not good compared to a lot of stuff. But of course, anybody who plays slots knows that slots are not good in that way.
Yeah, I'm sure that, the variance between the slot games and the denominations you're playing play wildly into that. I'm sure there's games that are horrible and then other slot games that aren't as bad. But yeah, that's about, I'm not too surprised to see it there.
And they claim if you put 100,000 coin in, that you're going to end up with $640 if you're just a base level member, compared to Win, where you'd be at 500, Caesars 100, MGM Rewards 460, Venetian Rewards 250. Yeah, that's what it says here. Caesars Reward is $100.
Oh my gosh.
Now, this isn't like extra comps or, the extra spiffs that you get, like room offers, stuff like that. This is just sort of what you would earn back. So, certainly they're doing a little bit better than Win, a little better than their closer competitors. And yeah, that kind of is eye-opening. I'm going to assume it's true. We're going to just credit them as the source on that. But according to them, yeah, $100 with Caesars, which is pretty terrible.
Yeah, it feels right. And then they don't give you any good comps anymore either. So thanks, Caesars.
But Caesars has a ton of properties. Fontainebleau only has one, and I think that does matter to a lot of people. And that is really where some of these other standalone properties are struggling. And Wynn does have other properties, but Wynn is Wynn, and it's just a one-off. It's its own special thing. Hard to sort of compete with that. Cosmo did pretty well, though, I would say, with Identity for a long time, because it was more generous. So maybe Fontainebleau's learning that lesson, and we've always talked about it as sort of the new Cosmo. Maybe this is just another step in that direction. I loved Identity. Anecdotally, we got much better offers from them than any other strip casinos. So yeah, I hope it goes that route.
Yeah, just don't get dehydrated when you go.
Hey, looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. And it seems like it's going to be a more generous summer for everybody. So for all of you conspiracy theorists think that we're trying to pretend like nothing's going on, we're just waiting to see how it goes. Let's see what the numbers are like. Let's see how bad it actually is. Certainly all the signs are that it's not going to be good. And we'll be here every single week, twice, Tuesdays and Fridays, to keep you up on all the specials, everything else going on in town. But let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. New Fontainebleau Rewards, the PED games, Steroid Olympics, Wrestlemania coming back to Vegas, all the food specials, the Strat. Are you planning to stay there? Leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody. Roid rage is a real thing, and their goals are going to be super small at the end of this game.
You just can't, it's always on your mind, isn't it?